Charles, karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Miriam.
We want to talk about the Tax Law Amendment Bill 2024. And this bill seeks to introduce some taxes that were detailed in the Finance Bill 2024 that the government withdrew after public protests. Now, the bill aims to amend three laws. That is the income tax, the value added tax, and excise duty act, right? Before we get into what it seeks to amend, there's been public participation. Kulikuwa nayo ya Mombasa jana, I believe. So there was public participation on the proposed tax amendment bill, and it was selected in Isiolo, Bungoma, Mombasa, Siaya, Taita Taveta, na Kericho. Why was it not in every part of the country?
So let me start by saying what tax is. Tax is just one of the ways that governments raise money to do its business. And when you say business, is provide services to citizens. So taxes is one of the ways. Coming back to your question on public participation, I would also ask, was it public participation ama ni stories ajaba? Because if we go back to, I think 2 or 3 weeks back, yes, 2 or 3 weeks back in relations to the impeachment of the deputy president,
Yes.
we saw the same parliament going all the 47 counties. In each county, within a sub-county or a constituency, they held a public participation on impeachment of the deputy president. However, when it comes to serious matters of my money, how the government wants to take my money,
Yes.
they are doing sampling.
In selected counties.
Sampling.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the right
sampling.
word, sampling. Let's sample 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hizo zingine watajipanga. You can do memos. Mbona hatu kuambia ile wakati mwingine we do memos?
Yeah.
So you see there's the imbalance of one, meaningful public participation. And number two, so for me, that is, I would say it was not public participation. Because residents of Kilifi County were forced to come to Mombasa or do a memorandum. You see? And that's unfair. If there is a select members that went to Kilifi, Lamu, Kwale, and did a public participation on impeachment of the deputy president, and they had money to do that public participation. So the question of not having enough money and just resulting to sample specific counties to conduct public participation, that's not right.
Would you think they're choosing areas where there wouldn't be a lot of resistance?
I don't want to speak on their behalf, but my point would be that was not meaningful public participation.
Yeah.
If you've already, you see, they've set a threshold that they can go in all the 47 counties and do public participation. So that is the threshold. That is the limit now. They can, hawafai kushuka chini. So when you come down and start telling us that, you know, we didn't have money, where did you get the money to do the public participation on the impeachment of the deputy president? You see, so that's number one. Number two, number two. So on the issue of the amendment bills, remember it was not only one document that was being discussed.
Yeah, it's not one. Yeah.
There were several.
Yes.
And on top of that, at the same time, the national government is conducting sector hearings. I think it started Jana, and it will go till maybe Friday, if I'm not wrong. Sector hearings for 3 consecutive days. So now you are taking us to public participation on amendment bills, tax amendment bills, and others, procurement, whatever. At the same time, we are doing sector hearings for the incoming budget, incoming financial year, fiscal year. That is financial year 2025-2026. So even me, as you say, I'm a budget champion, I feel a bit stretched on what should I consider to do vis-a-vis what I should not consider to do, in terms of which should I give more precedence to in doing a memorandum on. You see?
Okay. So I want to, let's look at, so now the Tax Law Amendment Bill 2024. So it's first of all, it's seeking to raise the budget to 178 billion, right? So this is, that is for financial year 2024-2025.
Yes.
Is it? Yes. I want us to look at the areas that it's seeking to amend:
Mm-hmm.
income tax, value added tax, and excise duty tax. What do these three stand for, Kwanza?
So income tax is the money that we, if you are salaried, unajua sio watu wengi wanapata mshahara in Kenya, and the current government that we are in, most of us find ourselves in the hustling side. So for the few that are able to get a salary, there is the pay as you earn. So that falls under the bracket of income tax.
Yes.
You get something, so the government gets something from you because you're getting something. So the value added tax is on products, services, and sort on. For example, if you go to a supermarket and buy something, the receipt that gives you, you'll see there is vatable product and non-vatable product. So so if it is vatable, it means there was a value added tax on the product itself. And then the last one you talked about was excise duty.
Yeah.
So excise duty is on products like alcohol, fuel, the M-Pesa transaction fees that we pay, the bank transaction fees, and so on and so forth. So those are some of the excise duty that the government collects from those sectors, including the people who do clearing and forwarding. They're supposed to pay some excise duty on the products or goods they bring in or export out of the country. Yes.
So what does the bill seek to introduce?
Interesting. So the bill, in a nutshell, to make it very simple, if we go back, we rejected the Finance Bill 2024-2025.
Yes.
So as a result of that, let me start again. So we have two documents that were presented for approval by the parliament and then further by the president. So this is the program-based budget and then the finance bill, which when you merge them together and other budget documents, it becomes an appropriation bill, which gives mandate now for the government to implement that budget, collect money to implement that budget. So what we did, and I say we, including all of us, we rejected part of that a bill, the appropriation bill, that is the finance bill. But the program-based budget was left intact. And actually, the president approved it. So now what the government is trying to do is trying to look for money to facilitate this program-based budget, the programs, the projects, and all, and so on. But you see now, it has been denied ways to collect money to fund this budget. You know, lazima tuanzie hapo so that we get to understand. So now if they have been denied by the citizens when we rejected the finance bill, it had to resort back to the previous finance bill. And when it resorted back to the previous finance bill, I remember we had this conversation, but it's good just to walk in the history. Let us, so that people get to understand. So when we went back to the finance bill 2023-2024, it was already in court and it was contentious in terms of there was no meaningful public participation and so on and so forth. It was pushed back to the finance bill 2022-2023. However, some things have changed, and now there is they were given a mandate to work on the finance bill 23-24. However, now they have a gap in the overall budget, which is the appropriations bill. You see, and they need to facilitate. So some of the areas that they thought of doing is try to reintroduce some of the parts and bits of the rejected finance bill.
What are they reintroducing?
So so what they reintroducing is the digital tax, which is now called significant economic presence tax.
Yes.
So if an entity or a company that is not based in Kenya, but it is doing some e-services, e-marketing and e-whatever, they're supposed to pay something. And this also will capture the people who are content creators and so on and so forth. Then there is the minimum top-up tax.
So wait, so the significant economic presence tax, which is what you're talking about, we used to have the digital service.
Yes.
The digital service tax,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yenye watu walikuja wakapiga kelele.
Yes.
So the significant economic presence tax is replacing.
Yes. It is the
game.
Yes, it's a game.
Chezwa town.
Yes, and we put it in a different English so that you get wording so that you get
who does
confused.
it affect? Who does it affect?
It affects, as I said, the companies that are not based in Kenya.
Yes.
But they get money in Kenya, but
through their businesses. Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it will affect content creators, people who are doing, who are leveraging. Let me give an example, like the online cabs. They will be heavily affected because, for example, Uber is not based in Kenya, but the drivers are here. So the fare that you will pay, because that's how businesses, companies work. If you charge me more in terms of taxes, I forward it to the consumer.
Yes.
So if a trip would cost you like 300, 400, it will cost you more as a way for them to try to look for this significant economic presence tax.
And what's the percentage?
So I've not quite gone into depth because the magnitude of the difference of the budget, the tax bills, as I've said, but this has a direct implication to a mwananchi who uses these platforms on a regular basis. For example, for the Uber drivers, the ones that own those vehicles, because Uber doesn't own vehicles. You buy your own vehicle, you maintain it, they just give you the platform.
Yes.
But now it has a ripple effect on the money that you take back home. And you don't have enough money now to spend. Remember, Tayari, there was an imbalance in terms of the fares and the percentage they were getting vis-a-vis the amount the company was getting. And they had serious issues about it.
So if the significant economic presence tax is implemented, that is if this bill passes, right? If it's implemented, that means for these companies, these companies that don't operate, that operate in Kenya, but are not Kenyan-based, will have to pay taxes. And for them to be able to do this, they'll have to increase the price to the service that they're offering.
Exactly.
And the price increment affects the user.
Exactly.
The user here is the Kenyan citizen.
Exactly. So as a result, it makes our lives more difficult in terms. Would you rather use the online cab if you are using it, or rather look for another means of transport to move you from one point to another? And by youth start thinking like that. Remember the previous time I was coming here, I was telling you guys that the government is supposed to be enabler for the people, a facilitator. Not something that it comes to infringe on you, on how you earn your living. So by them putting up this kind of tax, it reduces the way we would want to do business in Kenya. That is number one. Number two, it's not now becoming an enabling government, but rather something else. I don't want to use heavy words, but something else. But because if you're not enabling me, what are you doing to me?
Can we have more examples? Because I know most of the young people might be affected because you've mentioned the content creators. I'm looking at it pia kuna wale ambao wanafanya biashara, maybe importing goods kutoka some other platforms. Do you mean how pia watakuwa affected?
Yes, one way or the other, because you see those companies are not based in Kenya. They just have a satellite office, but the main office might be outside Kenya. So in this scenario, I've given an example of Uber. So if you are earning money, for example, in another marketing platform like the other one from China,
Alibaba.
Yes, that one. So the moment that you bring in goods, remember it's an online platform, so Alibaba will be charged more with this significant economic tax because it's seen that it's creating business in Kenya. So now you are paid, you are charged more by Alibaba by using their platform
to cover up.
Yes.
The tax.
Yes. So now what happens is, if now I buy stuff from Alibaba and I sell them to Kenya, so the charges at Alibaba on a product will go high in terms of significant economic tax.
Okay.
Because they will pass it on to you, to the consumer, and you will be forced to pass it on also to the consumer.
Charles, kuna vitu hapa nimeona downloadable ebooks, films and mobile applications. Alafu kuna hao wengine wanaitwa subscription based media, electronic ticketing, sales hizo, services provided through digital marketplaces. So hizo zote zina fall under hiyo digital economy, whatever umeipatia hiyo jina.
Significant economic presence tax.
How?
The government of Kenya.
So wale wote wenye wana fall under hiyo 24 to 35 wenye wanatumia hizi vitu wote watakuwa subjected to this.
Exactly.
So wakati John Mbadi alipoambiwa wewe ni waziri wa fedha, alisema kwenye ile finance bill ya 2024 kuna vitu viko positive about it. Na nikiingia ofisini I'll come nije ni to run through, to brush, tuone kama zitasaidia. Are these the things zenye alikaa akaona they are the positive things?
That's a very good question. However, I don't have a specific answer because I'm not in the mind of Mbadi. But let me
because
ask
this
ourselves
thing
here.
Ima emanate any bill ya amendments ya taxes inatokanga kwa treasury.
Exactly.
So yeye ndo amekuja na hii kitu, imeenda kwa Kimani Ichung'wah wamedraft, wametuletea huko.
Exactly. And that is the hapo ndio mahali nafikiri tutajiuliza maswali. Do we think this is fair? And when he said that he is going to make changes and take the positive things in the rejected finance bill and pass it on here and maybe input them in the existing finance bill that we have, is this one of them? For me, I say no, because it is one of the areas that we rejected. But sasa ndio nilikuwa nasema ni kama ilichukuliwa ikaregeshwa jikoni, ikapikwa, ikawekwa kwenye another plate, ikafanywa ukarabati and then and it was presented back to us.
Okay. We are speaking to Charles Njenga. He is a budget champion. And of course, right now there's public participation on different bills, but we want to look at the tax law amendment bill. We're looking at the tax law amendment bill 2024. What does it seek to amend? It's looking at income tax, value-added tax, and excise duty. There's also going to be an impact on my payslip. If this passes, there's going to be an impact on my payslip. We'll be talking about that when we get back. Good morning.
Charles, this amendment bill inalenga kuongeza mgao. Miriam amesema 178 ya kuweza kufacilitate whatever yenye walipanga. Kuna hii kitu tendency ya kwamba tuna set target, tunataka 178, but at the long run tunaisha kupata 150. You being a budget champion, na hiyo kawaida wa hii nchi kwamba tunataka hiki lakini hatufiki, do you think hizi vitu zenye wameleta watafikia hiyo target?
For me, nikiangalia trend, I don't think if we will manage. And the problem is we tend to live beyond our means. And we are so extravagant and ambitious at times. That is one of the greatest problem we have in Kenya. Na sijui hiyo ndio tutaita ni Ukenya ama ni vipi? Tuna tabia zetu which are very unique. Very unique. So we set target and we know for sure we can't meet, and instead of adjusting ourselves to what we are able to meet and tuangalie from there now, from that viewpoint, so we are able to collect maybe do a budget of maybe a total around 2.5 trillion. Let's work with that. Unaona? But we set 3 point something trillion. Now the 3 point something, and we know for sure we can't meet because of the wastages that we have in government, the areas where we lose money also through corruption and budgeted corruption, vitu kama hizo. But we still are ambitious and try to live extravagant. At the same time, we are tunaambia wananchi kaza mshipi. So unaniambia ni kaze mshipi, at the same time naona you are extravagant. And the money that you take from me in the form of taxes, I don't see value for money. Because there needs to be that return. It's how you are deducting me if I go to a supermarket and buy something. So there are things that are vatable. You tax me. I get a salary, you take pay as you earn. Sawa. But I'm supposed to go to a health facility if I'm sick, get good health. If my child goes to a public school, stories za mambo ya kuambiwa sijui hakuna vitabu, walimu wamegoma because they've not been paid, that should be
like things should work.
Yes.
If you're going to deduct a lot from me.
Exactly. And that is the greatest cry that Kenyans have, because the issue is not ati hatutaki kwa tax. We want, but we want to see the value for our money.
In moderation.
Yes.
Now, the bill also proposes to deduct Social Health Insurance Fund and SSF, the housing levy, from a person's gross pay. What difference would this have on my pay slip? And then initially, because Najua, in terms of, we had Fatima the other day, a financial advisor, and when we're breaking down our pay slip, what's being deducted from my gross pay is NSSF. Now, when in this proposition, when SHIF is deducted from my gross pay, NSSF deducted, and housing levy is also deducted from my gross pay, is that a good or a bad thing?
Okay, hapo nile naweza sema it's 50-50. It's a good thing and it's a bad thing at the same time, because a bad thing is, are we getting value for money? That's an open question. Sijui kama kuna answer. We had a SHIF guy here defending SHIF and SHA, so I don't want to go in that direction.
Are we not saving on something? If all these deductions are made from the gross pay, you know, most times, so they deduct NSSF to be able to get taxable income, right? But now you deduct NSSF, SHIF, housing levy from the gross pay to be able to get now the taxable income. Is that helping?
No. Our salaries zitakuwa zinaenda zaidi, because unajua percentage itakuwa inaenda na ile gross. Unlike pale NSSF ikipungua, angalau the income kidogo pale, income tax ama taxable income kidogo iko chini. So mambo ya kwa mfano the housing levy na zile zingine kidogo hazitakuwa juu, but percentage wise zitakuwa ziko juu kama ni gross pay na inaenda direct.
Charles Saidia.
And that is the right answer. That actually is the right answer, because now you see, if they will do that, it will have an impact on the money that you take home. And tayari you are struggling as a Kenyan. Let me say that you are struggling. Alafu the government is taking more from you, and will you have disposable income? And now we have to ask ourselves, is the government really trying to enable you to live well as a Kenyan, enjoy kwa Mkenya, ama it's treating you as if you are a non-Kenyan, but you are forced to pay to be a Kenyan? Such things.
Now, on the same, does it have any impact on the employer? Because now I think kwetu sisi wengine kitaturamba tu.
Yes, it has a direct implication to the employer, kwa sababu you see, Gona, if the government is taking more at the same time, it will affect, for example, the housing levy, the contribution between you and your employer. The SHIF and SHA thing is also there's a percentage that the employer needs to put in for you, is it? So you see, that's an impact. And I think if it's a week or 2 weeks back, there was an article that was saying some companies are laying off
Mm.
employees,
Yeah.
staff,
Mm.
because it has become not the companies are not able to withstand the economic pressures that they face as a result of taxation in the country.
Mm.
So where are we going as a nation? That is the biggest question that we need to ask ourselves. And as we try to answer that question, is the government being an enabler to its citizens, or it is now trying to be ile ukoloni?
Mm. Okay. Turudi tena pale. We've talked about the presence, significant economic presence tax, right? What else does the bill seek to reintroduce?
Okay, there's another tax called the minimum top-up tax. This ensures that large corporations don't exploit tax breaks to pay little or no taxes. But at the same time, you see, some of the taxes that this amendment bill is trying to bring back are the few that were rejected. And for me, if you push on the business side of Kenyans, that is the companies, self-employed young Kenyans, what are you trying to do? Miriam, what are you trying to do? Because you see, my thinking happened hata Salim nafikiri nafaa tuulizane. What is treasury? Wanafikiria nini treasury when they try to do these things?
You're saying the environment is not conducive for business?
Yes, the environment is now changing. It's not being conducive to business. And what will that mean in the long run?
Yeah.
Because you see, what will happen is company will close down and move maybe to Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, and chill. But we need to ask ourselves if the number of unemployed Kenyans will increase as a result of these tax amendment bills. What is the government thinking? Will it get its target? Ndio pale ulikuwa unauliza if we are targeting to raise this and at the same time hatutafika. What is our thinking? So when we start introducing taxes that will make the ease of doing business in Kenya unbearable, what
are we doing?
What are we doing exactly? What is the treasury thinking? What are the president financial advisors? Manake naambiwa kuna financial advisors to the president. Leave alone treasury. Kuna wale advisors to the president. Wako State House.
Moses Kuria.
Wewe ndio umesema sio mimi.
Ni huyo tunataja si yeye na David.
So what are they thinking? What are they thinking? Because I remember there was a time, and I think it shall kick in when they were saying the pay bills and whatever will be taxed, and will be considered as a source of revenue collection for you. So the government needs to tax you per every transaction that you make. So what does that entail?
There's a post I saw yesterday on Instagram. This is from his name is Bravi Nyuri. He says that you cannot be a billionaire in Kenya, let alone be a millionaire at 25 while doing straight and legit business, and yet have not invented anything. The economy of Kenya is designed to sabotage legitimate businesses. I know he was talking about something else in relation to something else, but also this last statement, the economy of Kenya is designed to sabotage legitimate businesses. Is a government, is a country conducive for that young person who wants to start up a business? And even that person who's looking to invest in Kenya. Is it conducive?
For me, currently, no. And that is something that the advisors and treasury should really start to think about. Because as I said, when you're increasing more taxes, and taxes is one of the laziest way of government raising money. Why don't you enable by creating more avenues for people to come in and invest, young people, even the Kenyans themselves, avenues to invest, do business, and then now bring the taxes. So you put tax breaks on businesses, upcoming businesses. Try to lower it down. At the same time, lower government expenditure. The wastages ikuje chini. Why should the president drive a latest Land Cruiser where we are struggling as a nation? You see, those are some of the small things. Why should you have several meetings in a high-end hotel where we can just go to government halls and do our business and your story meisha?
Why would we do that when there's allowance? Charles, what are you talking about?
Yes. Why should we have even allowances? Why should we even have allowances?
You have an MP
Eh.
mwenye amechaguliwa afanye hiyo kazi, akiingia bunge na apewe sitting allowance. The same MP akienda kwa kamati ya bunge akona sitting allowance ya hiyo kamati.
And when they go for retreats, they have to take a flight.
Yes.
And we have an SGR.
Yeah.
Na sahi kuna paka nasikia premium class where you can recline.
Yes, the SGR. And you know, I was just like, are we all using 5 hours, you know,
Yes.
to get to the destination?
Yes, we are using 5
Still 5 hours, yeah?
Yes, yes. Na tutafika tu sote mahali pamoja.
Wameambiwa watumie SGR lakini
Tuko hapo.
Yes.
probably watatumia
Kina nani?
wabunge.
Paid
Yes.
for by who?
Hapo sijui. Mi pengine sasa niulize kwa sababu wakati wa ile finance bill yenyewe there was a lot of opposition from the citizens. Sahi the amendment bill, are we having that kind of opposition to?
For me, I would say no, but no with a reason. It's because, as I have said, the number of documents or bills that the government has presented to go for public participation, that is inafanya watu wanakuwa a bit confused. Which one should I give more priority to in terms of analyzing and give my views? I said at the same time, currently, for the next 3 days, the national government is conducting sector hearings for the financial year 2025-2026. And each sector, which is a ministry, is accorded around an hour and 45, an hour 30 minutes to discuss, so that you give space for the other sector or ministry to also give their views and present their proposed budget, and give also the people who are present at KICC. The question is public participation, but tutaongea hapo, give views. So you see, there's a lot of things that are going on at the same time, and now we start to ask ourselves, is the government really willing to engage its citizens on matters budget? And for me, I would say no. Because why should you bring a series of documents and a series of engagement at a go?
Deliberate.
It is deliberate.
There's something that you intend to pass, and you're trying to confuse me with a lot of things.
Exactly.
So
so now when we talk about public participation, the meaningfulness of it, of the process, are you ready and willing to engage with me on this? Why don't you just bring this document, we discuss this document, finish it, tumemalizana na hii, now bring the other one, we discuss it, tumalizane, bring the other one, hivo, so that hata mimi niweze kujua, no, last week we discussed this, and this is what we said, and this is what the government gave a response to. So now we know this is the stand. But ukinifanyia hivi, sector hearings, now should I go to sector hearings? Because now they have given even an opportunity to join virtually. But should I give my views through on matters sector hearings or the tax amendment bills?
yeah. Charles, I mean, punda imechoka.
Ni kuchezwa. Ni kuchezwa.
Ooh, it has been a good Thursday.
Yeah.
Thank you, Charles Njenga, for coming through.
Thank you.
And this is Swahili Pot FM. You are on the Breakfast Club, and it's time for us to head out to talk Patatena Kesho. All right. And later on, we have the kickoff, Wanakujapa, from 10 all the way to 11, talking about Marta Sports, what's happening. Jana, Man City Ilikuwa Man City?
Wapi?
Gani? Kuna game nilikuwa na watch jana.
Hiyo ni repeat.
You need repeat.
Ni repeat ni Miriam.
You see Team Kiburi is up and up.
Makana kia ataniambia.
The only thing is
kulikuwa na game ya Man City jana.
ni repeat.
Tito. Tito amesema zi.
Hakuna, the only thing ni kwamba
accommodate me.
Murkomen amesema they are going to fire national coach team Engin Firat. Watamfire because haja deliver chenye walikuwa wanataka.
Okay.
But sasa huyo ni waziri, so I'm wondering yeye na FKF wanaingilia wapi. Anyway,
Makanake will talk about that and more on the kickoff, and then later on we have Swahili Pots Cafe with Dorcas Uyera, everything entertainment. If you want to win yourself some airtime, listening from 11 to 2 p.m. Alafu Badai, Munga Sauti Teule and CJ Bawaziri will be coming in with the Swahili Pod Drive 3 all the way to 7. The energy is fire blazing. Alafu pale Fatma Chids, Mama Zakia and Tony Munga. Everything relationship. Yesterday it was too hot. Ati mwanamke ni sura.
Mwanamke ni cover photo.
Good morning.